Hey, this is Cassidy Paris, and you're watching Talking About Rock.
Okay, today's guest, Australian rocker Cassidy Paris, was raised on classic hard rock and inspired by artists such as Lita, Joan Jett, and Pat Benatar. Here to chat with us about her upcoming album, BITTERSWEET, set for release on November 21st from Frontiers. Let's welcome back Cassidy Paris. Cassidy, how are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for having me, Robert. I appreciate it.
Oh, definitely. So you've said this new album kind of feels like it's a part of you. Tell us about putting this together.
Yeah, this album that we've done, I think it's very autobiographical. It's no secret that, if you listen to this album from front to back, it's literally like a diary of my life. And I think that that's something that I was really particular about with this new record. I wanted it to feel like, it's an album that's really from the heart. And I really dove in headfirst with this album. And I think that a lot of people, you can feel it in the music, and I think with the response of the first couple of singles, people are beginning to feel it. I really came into myself as an artist on this record, and I'm really, really proud of it.
And you've also worked with other songwriters here, making contributions as well. So you have Laine and Steve Brown from Trixter on here also.
Yeah. I worked with so many talented musicians on this record, and I also worked with a very notable musician in the States and Australia. His name's Dragon from Roxas, and he recorded all my vocals on the album, and he was just we co-wrote a couple of tracks on the album, and it was just really fun. This whole album, the making of it was really fun, and I think that it really just it was great for me to work with different people, different musicians, and these guys are heavyweights in the industry. So I really appreciate that they, went out of their way to give me the time.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the new tracks on here, Left to Lose, has some great riffs and vocals. What else can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Nothing Left to Lose is one of my favorite tracks on the album for sure. I think when I heard this one and Steve sent it over, he was like, "Look, I got this track. I really think that it's something that you should kind of look into doing." And I heard it and instantly fell in love with the track. I felt like I connected with this track, 100% from day dot, and it was just great getting to work with Steve. He's a ball of he's a ray of sunshine, and he's a ball of energy, and anyone that works with him in the industry, I'm sure, would say the same. He's just such a pleasure to work with, and he was really, really cool about my vision for the record and my vision for the song in particular.
Yeah, we've had Steve on the show a couple times, and yeah, just a great guy, very talented producer, musician, definitely for sure.
Yeah.
So another thing I want to talk to you about is we're finally seeing more female-fronted bands out nowadays. Quite a change from back in the days when, say, it was Pat Benatar and Joan Jett just starting out. What are your thoughts around that?
I think that's definitely right. And Robert, I really do think that there's a new wave of like female fronted bands, and that's really cool to be a part of. Like, I know you've got a band coming out of the States right now called Plush, and they're really cool. I love the girls in Plush. They're super cool to watch, and I love to see girls killing it in the scene. And I think it's I think this rock scene has changed a lot in the last 10 or so years in particular, and I think that it's time for that style of music to really come back to the forefront. And I think that there's a movement of girls that are really going to be very involved and responsible for that for sure.
Definitely, yeah. It still seems like it's kind of a tough road to travel here, but what keeps you moving forward and creating new music? What inspires you?
I think my personal life in particular this year really inspired me. I went through a very, public kind of situation that rocked me to the core personally, professionally, financially. And I think that that was something that was a very it was kind of like a turning point in my life. And a lot of people say that, the industry can be a bit cutthroat, and I didn't really understand it until this year. I was very fortunate to work with, and very early on in my music career. I'm obviously 22 years old, and I haven't been around for very long, but I've been doing this since I was like 14. So I hadn't really seen anything like that, and unprofessionalism until this year. And it was very, it had me shell shocked, to be honest with you. And I think that music, it was my savior, like, to be completely honest about it. Like, I just felt like I couldn't have got through what I did without music. It was the only thing that I wanted to get up, out of bed for. And I think that, anyone that's been through something will just understand that music is everything. It's when, you feel down, it's when you feel happy, any type of emotion, there's always some connection to it. And I think that's the power of music, really.
Yeah, definitely. So we're also seeing a lot of AI generated music out there, and even showing up on streaming platforms such as Spotify. What are your thoughts on this?
I think AI is very scary. Personally, I mean, I love the internet, and I sound like I'm like, a more mature person saying that, but I know I love the internet because obviously it gives me the ability to connect to, fans internationally, and they feel like my family, really. Like, I feel, fans is not the word that I like to use. I love to use family because they really have been that for me. In particular, this year, I wouldn't have been able to get through it. But I think AI is particularly scary, and I just think music is so much about feel, and I don't think that AI could ever replicate that. So that is one thing that I do think, we have on AI. But it is definitely scary as an up and coming musician in this industry, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I've always felt like great music kind of expresses emotion, has a lot of energy and holds historical bookmarks actually in people's lives. That's what makes real good music. And you definitely can't create that artificially, right?
No, exactly. I think that's 100% right.
All right. And for any new artists or bands out there starting out, do you have any advice for them?
You know what? I think keeping true to yourself is something that I really learnt this year. And I always heard people, people say that to you when you're, starting out in the industry, stay, you got to listen to your heart. And I think for a while there, I kind of fell short of what I kind of wanted to be as an artist. And I felt a little bit trapped in what I, was doing in terms of, even like my personal life. And now that I'm on the other side of things, I think everything happens for a reason, even if it is really difficult. And if you stay true to yourself and you just keep pushing, you're going to find that. And I think for me, like, I really saw it with the single Stronger, which was my best received single by far. And it was like, that song was my savior through the most difficult time in my life. Like, I had like a bit of a rough trot for a while, and I think that's just the thing. You got to stay true to yourself as an artist and as a person, and I think that everything else comes in time.
Good. Yeah, great advice. Definitely. So, okay, the new album "Bittersweet" from Cassidy Paris is out November 21st. All right. So that wraps up this episode of Talking About Rock. Thank you to my guest today, Cassidy Paris. And to our listeners, we hope you're keeping the torch alive and supporting live music wherever you are. Cassidy, again, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.